My child, do not scroll away. This moment was written for you before time began. You have carried burdens no one sees, cried prayers no one hears, but I have heard them all, and now I have brought you here. For in this word I will reveal the very key you have been searching for. Do not miss even a second. For every moment you stay, I will lift a weight, break a chain, and release the answer you have been longing for. Stay until the end, because this message will not just touch your heart, it will transform your life forever. The window that has stood open is narrowing, and what I am saying cannot be postponed. I am not speaking merely to soothe your mind, but to rouse you from the slumber of distraction that has wrapped itself around your soul. If you think these words are offered only for encouragement, you have missed what is at stake. My voice does not rise in urgency without cause. I do not press upon your spirit without purpose. I am not interrupting your day because I have nothing else to do. I speak because I see what you cannot. I hear the approach of things that will demand a decision long before you feel prepared. If you do not take my hand now, you will be carried by currents you cannot resist alone. I have covered you in former seasons, even when my name never crossed your lips in thanks. I redirected dangers before you knew they were coming. I stood between you and the collapse the enemy planned. But my covering is connected to your obedience, and I will not force you to remain beneath my shelter if you wander toward the edge. Each time you ignore my prompting, you move closer to the line where my intervention must yield to the path your choices have drawn. You have felt this moment gathering for a long while, those sleepless nights of restlessness, the unexpected tears when you considered your future, the uneasy check when you nearly chose the wrong road. That was me, warning you. Yet you keep saying you'll change when life settles, when things stabilize, when timing feels right. I am telling you, with heaven's urgency, that moment will never arrive if you wait for perfect conditions. Perfection is not the doorway to obedience. Faith is. Faith does not pause until everything makes sense. Faith moves when the Lord says move, even when it costs, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it feels like stepping into the unknown. I have already gone ahead of you and set in place what you will need, but I will not drag you into your calling. I will not contend with you for what I freely offer. I will not compete with the distractions you choose to retain. If you will turn to me now, fully, without reserving that last hidden piece of yourself, you will watch doors open so suddenly that those who doubted you will stand in awe. And you will know the credit is not yours, neither your strength, nor your wisdom, nor your timing, but mine. Hear me again. This is not a casual invitation. This is a summons. This is the kind of turning that directs the course of years. This is where the path divides and neutrality disappears. Understand that even my mercy moves in seasons, and the season for this specific calling is closing. So listen, beloved. Do not spend another breath assuming you have endless time, because the clock you cannot see is already ticking toward the moment when this offer is removed from your table. Not because love has diminished, but because my appointed plan advances, with or without you, and I want you in it. You must choose now before the chance is gone. You have walked near me at times, feeling the warmth of my presence and tasting the sweetness of my peace. I have also watched you drift when the winds of distraction blew stronger, when surrounding voices drowned out the stillness we once shared. You may not notice it, but every step away from me weakens your clarity, making my path look hazy and uncertain, though it has never shifted, dimmed, or moved from where I set it before you. Your focus has wandered because you have allowed competing affections to sit upon the throne that belongs to me alone. You think you can hold me in balance with them, but divided devotion is no devotion at all. I do not take second place. I do not share the rule of your life with any rival. Each time you let worldly concerns set the cadence of your choices, you sink deeper into fog where the enemy whispers that comfort is safer than surrender. Hear me. Comfort without me becomes a slow poison, numbing you until you forget what it is to burn for something greater than survival. I have not called you to live half awake, glancing back at me only when trouble rises. I have called you to walk so closely beside me that my heartbeat sets the rhythm for your steps. Near me, my voice is not a fading echo but a steady presence you cannot mistake. Yet I watch you lean toward the noise of opinions, headlines, anxieties, and fleeting pleasures, believing they will fill the empty spaces within. They do not. They widen the gap between us. My love does not fade, but alignment with my will is never automatic. It asks for intention. It asks for choice. It calls you to resist letting lesser things steal your gaze from what is eternal. Every glance away invites hesitation. Hesitation becomes delay. Delay becomes disobedience before you realize it. I speak now with the urgency of heaven. You cannot continue this pattern, because each step away dims your ears to my prompting. A day will come when you will wonder why my voice sounds faint. It will not be because I stopped speaking, but because you stopped listening long enough for the static of this world to flood your frequency. So come nearer than you have ever been. Not halfway, not only when convenient, not only when crisis drives you to pray, but as a settled decision. No season, no person, and no struggle can move. You have tasted the joy of walking with me and the emptiness of wandering. You know which gives life. Why keep choosing the road that leaves you thirsty while I offer living water in abundance? Beloved, I am not leading you toward uncertainty. I am calling you back to the place where your soul was formed to rest, where your heart beats in rhythm with mine and no shadow prevails. But you must silence the competing voices, break agreements with fear, lay down the things you have lifted above me. You cannot hold my hand in the world's hand without being torn in two. I will not be the one to let go. Yet the longer you grip what I have asked you to release, the more you strain your own soul. A moment comes when the tension snaps and the fall is harder than you imagine. I speak while there is time. The distance between us is not fixed. It can vanish in an instant if you turn fully toward me. When you do, I will restore the nearness you miss. I will flood your spirit with a light bright enough to scatter every shadow. But you must draw near before this moment passes and the world's pull drags you beyond the range of my urgent call. The door I set before you still stands open, but it will not remain so indefinitely. This is not an ornament to admire from afar. It is the passage into what I have been preparing through every season you endured. It has waited for you, but it is not tethered to you forever. My purposes move by appointed times. When the time completes, the opening will close, not from cruelty, but because the assignment moves forward to the one ready to enter. I do not say this to stoke fear, but to awaken you to the truth that divine opportunities are not endless. They are invitations requiring response while they are present. The enemy wants you convinced you can wander indefinitely and find the same path waiting untouched. He knows that if he can keep you circling in indecision, the moment will slip by quietly until you stare at a wall where a gate once stood, asking why you waited. Hear me now. In this season, the frame of this door bears your name. It aligns with the longing you have carried for years, the prayers whispered in solitude when no one heard, the burdens that drew tears while you wondered if I had forgotten. I have not forgotten. I have shaped you and refined you for a space where those desires and burdens become the work I designed for you to fulfill. But I will not push you across the threshold. Your will must agree with mine. If you linger outside too long, Uncertainty will settle like fog until you forget why you ever longed to enter. This is why I press you with such intensity. I see the enemy weaving distractions to pull your gaze from what stands directly ahead, hoping you will look aside just long enough to miss the moment to move. I refuse to let you claim later that I did not warn you. I speak plainly. The time to act is now, not when you feel more prepared, not when every detail is arranged, not when you judge the risk lower. Now, because the grace attached to this doorway belongs to this moment. When that grace lifts, you may still move, but the weight will be heavier and the road slower, and you will wish you had obeyed while the path lay straight before you. My favor is the wind at your back when you move in my timing. When you stand outside it, you push against resistance never meant for you. Understand, this is not only about your blessing. It is alignment with my will. It is your place in what I am unfolding across many lives. Your obedience is the missing link in a chain of breakthroughs I desire to release. Without your yes, the flow is redirected. I long for it to pass through you. There is a joy reserved for those who cross the doorway assigned to them in faith. I want you to carry that testimony, to know the fulfillment of choosing rightly when the decision mattered. You cannot reach that place while loitering at the threshold as if it were scenery. This is not a photograph to capture. It is a portal to walk through, and the hinges will not turn forever. Step forward now, while the light spills across your path, while my voice rings clear, while the air is charged with my presence. Once the closing begins, the sound will fade and the glow will dim, and you will sprint to catch what is already moving ahead. I do not desire you to chase what you could have entered by trusting me in the present. I have sent you confirmations you could not easily dismiss, threaded into ordinary moments so they would find you even when you were not searching. I placed reminders in conversations, in strangers' words, in patterns of events aligned with a precision no coincidence could explain. Time after time, you treated them as curiosities rather than direction, promising to ponder them later. Later has become the hiding place where your obedience keeps being postponed. I cannot let you remain in that cycle without a warning. These signs were not gifts to entertain you or stir fleeting emotion. They were given to move you into action, to remove every excuse for waiting, to leave no doubt that I am the one calling. You have questioned my timing while overlooking how I have cleared the path step by step. Your hesitation is not from lack of evidence. It rises from reluctance to release what I am asking you to let go, fearing that opening your hands means losing control. You do not see that clutching what I am stripping away leaves your hands too full to receive what I give. I have been patient, repeating my voice in varied tones, sending my word through different messengers, placing truth before you when you least expected it. Still, you walk away under the weight of not yet. This delay is a thief dressed as caution, stealing days you cannot reclaim, eroding the edge of readiness you once held. If you keep it, it will drain urgency from your heart until the moment no longer feels important. By then, the opportunity will have shifted, and you will look back knowing you let the very thing you prayed for slip through your fingers while you debated whether to believe me completely. That is why I address you now without softness, because softness has already been granted. The hour of decision is here. You are standing inside the answer you asked for, but you are treating it like a question. Every day you do, the enemy gains ground against your faith. You will point to your inaction as proof that I have not spoken. If that lie takes root, it will rob you of courage the next time I call. So I push through the noise to speak plainly. You will not receive a clearer confirmation than what I have already given. You will not feel a stronger nudge than the one pressing your heart at this very moment. You do not have the luxury of waiting for perfect understanding before you obey, because obedience gives birth to clarity. If you demand the whole map before taking the first step, you will never move. I have not called you to walk by sight, but by trust forged in motion, not theory, proven when you step forward upon my word alone, without visible guarantees, knowing only that the one who calls is faithful. I repeat myself not from uncertainty, but from love too fierce to let you miss this moment in silence. So I speak again, louder than the voices feeding hesitation, shattering every excuse, sweeping away every doubt, and declare with heaven's weight, move now. The season of confirmation has ended. The season of action stands upon you. If you will not act, the chance I placed in your hands will be carried to where it will be used, and you will watch from a distance what might have been yours had you stepped when I called. There were moments when my spirit stirred within you so strongly you could feel the weight of my presence press upon your heart. Moments when you knew beyond question I was near and speaking. Yet you pushed that stirring aside, telling yourself it wasn't the right time, promising you would answer when life felt less demanding. Each time you silence that inner prompting, you train your heart to resist the voice that gives you life. I warn you, there is a cost to repeatedly ignoring the movement of my spirit. What begins as soft resistance can harden into an immovable wall. When that happens, even the loudest call sounds faint, not because I withdrew from you, but because your ears grew dull under the practice of delay. This is not the place I desire for you. When the heart ceases to tremble at my word, obedience becomes optional in your mind. An optional obedience is no obedience at all. I will not shrink my will to fit the timeline you have created. The movement of my spirit is not scheduled around convenience. It is heaven's breath moving when I choose. Those ready in the moment receive its fullness. Those who say later watch the outpouring pass while they remain on the sidelines, longing for what they could have known had they stepped in when the water was stirred. My spirit is stirring again. This is not random feeling. It is the signal that your step is due, not months away but here, now, within reach. Every second of hesitation becomes a second for the enemy to whisper reasons to hold back. Fear of failure, fear of opinions, fear of inadequacy. Those are chains. I have already placed within you what this step requires, and I will supply the rest as you move. You will never discover the depth of what I have given while standing still, demanding certainty before action. Certainty does not precede faith, it follows it. Insisting on absolute assurance before obedience only pulls you farther from the flow of what I am doing, for my spirit moves in real time, not in the delays of human reasoning. If you continue to set aside my nudges, you will wake one day to find they no longer come with the same intensity. Not because I have abandoned you, but because I will not keep pouring urgency into a vessel that refuses to pour out obedience. Hear this not as condemnation, but as a final alert. The stirring is not meant to linger. It is meant to move you, to disrupt unholy patterns, to shake you from comforts that dulled your hunger, to propel you into assignments that carry eternal weight. Do not quiet me this time. Do not bury the unease when you know I am speaking. That unease signals that the moment has come. It will not wait for you to feel ready. It will not slow until you catch up. It will keep moving because my spirit moves with the rhythm of my will. Decide whether you will move with it or remain as the distance grows between what I am doing and where you stand. The time has come to match your pace to mine, to let the stirring become a step, and to finally say yes without delay. That another day you imagine, the myth where all aligns and readiness descends, is a lie crafted to keep you still. The enemy's most useful deception is not never, but not yet. Not yet sounds safe, reasonable, as though intention were obedience. You comfort yourself that opportunity waits patiently, when in truth, opportunities are living assignments. They breathe within a divine window. They are tied to moments that will not remain open indefinitely. Each postponement edges you closer to the day the window shuts, leaving you outside, staring at what could have been, with no way to force it open again. I am merciful and patient, yet I am also the God of appointed times. My plan does not orbit the endless deferrals of man. It moves by my set order. When the moment arrives, it calls for response, not hesitation. I see how you soothe your conscience, waiting for one more sign, one more confirmation, one more shift. Beloved, you have received more signs than many who went before you. You have heard my words in ways others never did. You have felt my pull more than once. If you are still unmoved, you do not need more proof. You need the will to act on what you already know. For every day you delay, the gap between my timing and your readiness widens. A moment will come when that distance is too great to cross without real loss. I do not desire that for you, but I will not alter my appointed season to fit indecision. I am moving pieces that involve many beyond you, and they cannot remain on hold forever. If you keep pushing this to tomorrow, tomorrow will arrive with another reason to wait, and the cycle will swallow years you cannot retrieve. Though I can redeem time, I will not return this exact moment once it passes. Each moment carries grace unique to itself, and the grace reserved for this season is unlike any other. Miss it, and the road becomes longer and heavier, not because I abandon you, but because you walk without the wind I offer now. I say this not to frighten you, but to strip away the illusion that perpetual postponement is harmless. Delay reshapes destinies. It alters outcomes. It shifts blessings intended for your hands to those willing to step in. I long for you to be among those who seize their moment, not those who mourn what slipped away. So I call again, urging you to break partnership with later, to renounce the comfort of perfect timing, to realize readiness is forged in movement, not prolonged deliberation. Obedience will rarely feel entirely safe because it asks you to trust me more than your ability to control. You can trust me. I complete what I begin. If you take this step now, you will see that what you feared losing is nothing compared to what I am ready to place in your hand. Stop believing in a future moment that will magically make obedience easier. That moment does not exist. There is only now, and now is the time I have chosen for you. The opening before you is not an ordinary option among many. It is a path crafted specifically for you, built through layers of preparation that started long before you knew how to pray for it, shaped through struggle, perseverance, and unseen growth. It stands ready, but not endlessly so. The resources, relationships, and alignments I have orchestrated are part of a living chain, each link tied to a moment. Moments move forward. They do not freeze for endless weighing. While my love is constant, the arrangements I have made will not idle while you count the cost, because the cost of failing to move is greater than the cost of obedience, though you do not yet see it. Obedience may ask you to leave comfort, but hesitation steals purpose. I do not wish you to live in regret when fullness sits before you. Still, I will not force your hand or drag you through a door that requires your willing yes. Hear me again, the way forward will not feel more open than it is now. Though the enemy says you are unready, I have supplied what this step requires. I have gone ahead to prepare favor in places you have not yet entered. I have positioned people to open doors you could never open alone. I have arranged circumstances to align at the precise moment. But these arrangements are active and timed. If you let this window close, the design will shift to another willing heart. Not because I love them more, but because my work does not stall for prolonged reluctance, even when I long for you to be the one who carries it. and I do long for it to be you, for this path bears your name. Yet a calling unaccepted remains unrealized. I can weave new paths, but this exact one will not return. This moment carries particular grace, specific authority, a unique access belonging to this season alone. Know this is not only about you. Others are connected to your decision. They will be blessed through your obedience or delayed by your reluctance. Some of those delays would bring them hardship they were never meant to face. I speak with urgency because this is about more than your destiny. It concerns the chain reaction your yes releases. The work before you is not small, not optional, and not replaceable in impact. As long as you stand still, the ripples I prepared remain locked within still water, waiting for the stone of your obedience. If you decline, I will use another, and the ripples will still reach the shore, but you will miss the joy of being the vessel through which they came. This is not a game of chance. It is a divine assignment awaiting activation. The activation requires you now, not next month or next year, not when things calm down. For those delays are illusions meant to distract you until the alignment shifts and the moment is no longer yours. I do not want you watching someone else walk in the blessing intended for your hands while promising yourself you'll be ready next time. I am calling you to step before the hinge turns. Once it does, the silence beyond is not a lack of love, but the sign that the appointed time has moved on with the willing. I have been your shield in more battles than you can count, standing between you and dangers you never saw, diverting attacks before they reached your door, dismantling traps that would have held you. I acted not only because you asked, but because I saw and moved out of love. I have always been a step ahead of the enemy's schemes, so they faltered before they formed. But do not take this protection lightly. My covering is not a trailing canopy that follows you wherever you choose. It is the refuge of those who walk with me. My mercy reaches far, yet there is a difference between the safety of living inside my will and the danger of settling just outside it. Outside, storms strike unfiltered, blows land harder, and temptations disguise themselves more easily. The enemy knows that if he cannot touch you under my shelter, he will coax you to its edge. Every delay, every hesitation, every small compromise edges you closer to that line. I warn you now because the pull has been subtle, less an obvious attack and more a drift of distraction, small shifts in focus, burdens designed to drain you until you feel too weary to hold your ground. That weariness is not merely life's weight. It is pressure from a battle you have not fully named. The remedy is not retreat into passivity, but stepping forward into the place I have been urging you toward. There, my full protection covers you. Plans against you crumble before they reach you, and the storms lose their bite. Linger in indecision, and you remain exposed on a threshold never meant for dwelling. The longer you stay, the more vulnerable you become, not because my care ceases, but because the shield tied to your next season rests in the place I am calling you to, not where you cling today. I can still cover you where you are, but it is not the same guard that waits in obedience ahead. Grace is assigned to each step. When you outstay a season, that grace lifts, and you feel blows you were never meant to bear. I do not tell you this to stir fear, but to clarify reality. Too often you treat my protection as guaranteed without condition. Even in ancient days, my hand rested fully on those who moved when I said move, and stayed when I said stay. Those who ignored instructions stood outside the pillar of cloud and fire, outside the circle of safety. I do not want that for you. I know what lies ahead, the snares set farther down the path. I have already traced a route that bypasses them, but it requires you to step beneath the shield of obedience now, before the traps are sprung. Yes, you might survive them in your own strength, but you would carry wounds never included in my plan. I would rather see you walk untouched, unshaken, with the peace of standing exactly where I placed you, than see you limp forward wounded, because you refused to move into the covering I prepared. So hear me. This is not the time to delay at the edge. Step fully into the place of safety I call you to. My protection remains, for now, but I will not force you to stay where it rests. I have given you choice, and choice means you can remain within the safety I provide, or step beyond it into territory where your strength is tested without my appointed shield. I have seen the enemy watching for the moment you drift far enough from my shelter that he can strike without resistance. Patient in the shadows, studying patterns, learning where your guard lowers. My presence has been a barrier, but that barrier depends on your abiding, not on a mere claim of belonging. Belonging without abiding is fragile, easily rattled by fear, temptation, and fatigue. I say this not to condemn, but to reveal that your deepest safety is always found in the place I have called you to be, not where you feel most at ease. Comfort can become a counterfeit refuge, warm yet unguarded. It lulls you into thinking you are safe, while leaving you exposed to blows you cannot anticipate. You have felt a recent restlessness, an unease rising when you consider where you are and what you are doing. That is my spirit stirring, alerting you that this place is no longer where your shield is strongest. The shield for this season is in motion, moving with my will. Refuse to move with it, and you will fight battles you were never assigned, carry weights you were never meant to lift, and wonder why my hand feels distant. I have not moved away. I have moved ahead to prepare the ground where your next covering waits. This is why I call with urgency. I see how near the enemy is to the edge beyond which my guard does not rest in the same way. His first strikes will be subtle. Distractions, strained relationships, attractive opportunities that lead you from your true assignment, until you are entangled in commitments that drain your strength and dilute your focus. Each is designed to draw you further from the shelter tied to your next step. Move now. Once you step into obedience, the enemy's reach falls short. His strategies fail before they start, and you walk in the strength that comes from knowing the one who fights for you surrounds you. I cannot grant that full shield while you remain where you are, because I will not bless disobedience and label it protection. I will not reinforce a position I already told you to leave, for that would teach you that my warnings can be ignored without consequence. I love you too much to let that lie take root. Understand, my protection is not a passive blanket, regardless of direction. It is the armor of the obedient, the guard of the surrendered. It is found where my will is, not where your preference lingers. Do not trade true safety for temporary ease. Ease is the first step toward defeat. Obedience is the doorway to victory, and that doorway stands open now. The one waiting for your unguarded moment is not idle. He has prepared his strike for the instant you step outside the strongest cover of my presence. His aim is not merely to bruise, but to pull you into a draining conflict that distracts you from purpose. He cannot destroy the calling on your life, but he can delay it. And delay can thin your faith until you question whether I spoke at all. This is why I have been relentless in urging you to remain where my authority shields you. Beyond that place, the ground is different, riddled with snares camouflaged as harmless until they catch your foot. I have cleared countless traps before you ever saw them, but I will not keep sweeping a field I have told you to leave. That would suggest you may wander where you please and still have my full guard, which is not how my kingdom works. Protection follows instruction. The moment you choose your own road over mine, you step into territory unprepared for you. There the enemy holds advantage, and you will battle wars not yours to fight. Conflicts that exhaust your strength and cloud your discernment until even prayer feels heavy and hope thin. I do not want you on that road. I know what it will cost and how long recovery will take. I have no desire to see you spend years reclaiming what obedience would have preserved. The move I ask is not to deprive you. It is to spare you an unnecessary war. There are seasons to stand and fight, and seasons to avoid battle by staying under my shield. This is such a season. Your bravest act is not swinging a sword, but stepping into the fortress I have prepared. Every moment you hesitate, you edge closer to where that fortress wall ends. Beyond it, the enemy waits for no invitation. He will test your defenses, and the fight will not be simple or without cost, for he aims at what you treasure most. Though I will not abandon you, the struggle will be far more expensive than necessary. This is why I speak with urgency. I am not only offering peace, I am granting escape from a trap months in the making, one you have not yet seen, already disarmed in the place I am leading you. Trust me, today's obedience is tomorrow's shield. Step where I set you, and what looked risky will prove the safest place you could stand. There, arrows meant for you never touch. Snares meant to catch you never cross your path, and the one waiting outside the wall watches powerless as you advance beneath my guard. I did not call you to barely survive under constant resistance. I called you to rise into the full measure of what I formed you to carry, to step into assignments that release life and truth where darkness has long claimed ground. Your purpose was never to be hidden in fear or buried under survival's demands, but revealed in strength, courage, and steady trust in my direction. Align fully with what I ask, and you will see the heaviness lift. It was the tension of standing between where you are and where you are called. That tension ends the moment you move. I have given you gifts and insight by design, not by accident. Tools meant to bring breakthrough to others and to you. When you remain still, those tools stay sheathed, potential lies dormant, and intended impact goes unmet. Delay whispers that your role is not urgent, that your presence changes nothing, that your voice lacks weight. Those lies keep you inactive because the enemy knows that once you obey, the ripple of your action disrupts his plans beyond your sight. Your calling is not private. It is woven to people and places awaiting what I've deposited in you. If you hold back, they feel the absence. Some shifts will happen only when you enter rooms I have prepared for you. Some words will be spoken only through your mouth. Some prayers will be prayed only by your faith. Some atmospheres will change only because you carried my presence into them. That is why the enemy presses you to stay silent, small, and stalled, arguing that your part can wait. But waiting does not preserve the moment. It surrenders the ground meant for your feet to another. My purposes continue, but you miss the joy of seeing your obedience open doors and break chains. I want you to know that joy, the assurance of doing what you were made to do. In that place, even challenges carry a different weight, becoming opportunities for my glory rather than obstacles to halt you. To reach that place, you cannot cling to the myth of a perfect moment. Act now. Timing is not about when you feel ready. It is about when I have set the alignment. And the alignment is now. The stage is prepared. The pieces are in place. Only your step remains. When you take it, you will watch how quickly I move to meet you, and how opportunities and connections you thought out of reach begin to flow toward you. Not because you forced them, but because you stepped into the current of my will. In that current, there is no stagnation, only forward motion toward the fulfillment of my promise. Live in that flow. Do not watch from the shore, consoling yourself with later. Later has stolen too many destinies. It will not take yours if you trust me now. Each hesitation gives the adversary time to sow confusion, scattering distractions that seem harmless but grow into barriers if not uprooted. If he can cloud your clarity, you will spend energy questioning instead of advancing. Questioning without movement becomes soil where doubt takes root. Mature doubt weighs you down until even small acts of obedience feel impossible. I have not called you to live underneath uncertainty. I have given you a discerning mind, a heart attuned to my voice, and a spirit sensitive to my leading. Guard them. The enemy's tactic is often not open confrontation, but steady attrition, wearing you down until you no longer trust the very sense of direction I placed within you. That is why I urge action now, while your heart is still tender to my stirring. Delay grants him space to weave lies, that what lies ahead is too risky, beyond reach, or too uncertain to attempt. He will offer easier options, convenient diversions that pull you from the place where your obedience will strike deepest. Do not trade what is eternal for what is temporary, or exchange the divinely appointed for what is merely convenient. Convenience brings short relief, but leaves a quiet ache, the sense you stopped short of fullness. That ache lingers until you realign with the path I set. It is easier to step into that path now than to return later from detours. For detours consume energy, time, and focus meant to build what I prepared. I speak now so you will not waste what is already in your hands. You are nearer than you realize to the point where hesitation not only costs opportunity, but lets the enemy fill spaces you were meant to occupy with voices that will not carry my truth. Then, the atmosphere you were sent to change will be shaped by another spirit. If you step in now, those spaces will fill with light and life. Strongholds reinforced against you will begin to crumble, simply because you arrived where I directed, carrying the authority I placed within you. It will not be your strength, but my power through your obedience. When you align with me, the ground responds. Doors open, hearts soften, and chains fall, without your forcing them. None of this happens while you stand still weighing risk. The greater risk is remaining where you are until the window closes and the ground meant for your feet is taken by another. I do not say this to incite fear, but to wake you to the truth that the enemy works most effectively in the space between my instruction and your obedience. Close that gap now. Silence his lies. Step forward before the seeds he scatters take root, and watch how swiftly I remove what stands against you. What I have set aside for you is prepared, but it is not released to those who admire it from afar. It is placed in the hands of those who act when I speak. My blessings are not ornaments. They are tools and assignments for kingdom advance. I do not pour out provision to gather dust while intended work remains undone. I am intentional with my outpouring. I look for hearts ready to carry what I give, hearts that respond immediately, not after convenience returns, not after conditions feel favorable, but at the moment I command. I have watched your readiness, not by the volume of your words about faith, but by the speed with which you move when faith is required. There's a difference between talking trust and stepping into it. I am calling you to prove by action what you profess with lips. The blessing for this season is not a general rain. It is a precise release tied to the specific obedience I ask. My love is constant, but my assignments are time-sensitive, and the favor attached to this one will not be held back indefinitely. If you will not step forward, it will flow to one position to receive, not as punishment, but because the work must be done, the impact must be made, and the lives linked to this blessing must be served. Understand, your delay slows not only your own increase, but also what others are meant to receive through you. My blessings rarely terminate with you. They are meant to pass through you, multiplied as they flow. When you hold back, the stream damps and loses momentum. When you say yes in the moment I ask, the river is loosed, carrying my provision, presence, and breakthrough into places you cannot reach alone. Hesitation is not neutral. It resists what I am trying to release through you. I will not pour fresh oil into a vessel that refuses to be poured out, for my gifts are made for movement. I am calling you to move because I have aligned doors that will swing open at your arrival. I have readied hearts to receive what you carry the instant you appear. I have prepared opportunities that unlock only when you are in position. Nothing waits on me, it waits on your step. I have already prepared, already set the stage, already written provision into your story. Your obedience is the key in the lock. Until it turns, the treasure remains sealed. Not because I wish to withhold, but because I will not place what is holy into hands unwilling to use it as intended. Be the one who answers without delay, hands open to receive and to release. The blessing I send is not small. It will meet your needs and overflow to many, but it rests upon the willing, the ready, those who refuse to let fear or timing dictate obedience. I invite you to be counted among them now, before the release shifts to another. There are lives connected to your willingness, people you may never meet, whose paths will change because of your decision in this moment. I have woven your obedience into the fabric of their breakthrough. When you delay, the threads meant to tie their deliverance to your action hang loose, leaving them waiting for a change that will not come until you move. Though I can raise another, I called you for a reason. Something in your voice, your story, the way I have shaped you, unlocks hearts that others cannot. Remain still, and that key never reaches the lock. They continue in struggles I intended you to help end. I tell you this not to heap guilt, but to awaken you to the truth that your obedience is never only about you. It sparks a chain reaction, reaching far beyond your sight, with ripples that continue long after your immediate task is complete. I do not call you in isolation. You are part of a larger tapestry, where every act of faith strengthens the whole. When one thread remains unfinished, the design suffers, not because I cannot complete it, but because I choose to work through willing hearts. When hearts resist, completion waits for another to step forward. Yet I desire you to carry the work I placed in your hands, because the joy of witnessing its impact surpasses comparison. I have already arranged moments for you to see the fruit of obedience, to watch lives restored, hope renewed, faith awakened, because you moved when I called. Those moments will not arrive if you keep storing my instructions for later. For later is where urgency dies, and when urgency dies, momentum follows. Without momentum, even the strongest assignment lies dormant, like seed left in a jar instead of buried in the soil where growth begins. There are seeds within you ready to be planted now. Into soil I have prepared. Beneath rain I am already sending, but they will not take root until you release them. If you cling to them out of fear, uncertainty, or pursuit of perfect conditions, the planting season will pass, and those seeds will be reassigned to another. Not because I take pleasure in removing anything from you, but because my harvest will not be delayed indefinitely. I want you in that harvest, to stand in the field and see what your trust produced, to know that because you acted, others stepped into freedom and provision, and their gratitude rose as worship to me. That worship will be credited to your account, for your obedience set it in motion. Understand, this moment is not only about your blessing, it is about unlocking blessing for others, breaking chains they could not break alone, shifting atmospheres you may never physically enter but will touch through the power of faith-filled action now. I will not keep calling in the same way if you persist in turning away from what I have placed before you. My voice has been clear, my signs unmistakable, and the time for indecision is ending. Not because love fades, but because the assignment entrusted to you cannot be left unfinished without consequence to the greater work I am doing. I will not allow that work to stall forever. I move with order and precision according to what I ordained. When one vessel refuses alignment, I redirect to another who will not delay. I do not wish to hand your portion to someone else. I long to see you step entirely into what was written over your life before your first breath, because it bears a weight of eternal worth that cannot be calculated by earthly scales. Yet each time you hesitate, your hearing grows less keen, the tenderness of your heart becomes dull, and the confidence that comes from quick obedience weakens. Delayed obedience slowly erodes intimacy with me. Intimacy is where your strength originates, where your clarity is born, and where your courage is renewed again and again. Without that closeness, the roar of the world will drown out my whisper until you begin to doubt whether you ever heard me at all. I do not want you living in that fog. You were designed to walk in a clarity that slices through confusion, in a certainty that silences fear, and in a steady focus that cannot be shaken. That kind of walk requires your immediate response to my prompting. Not endless weighing of options, not handing authority to lesser voices over what I have already spoken. I have waited with patience, reminding you with gentle nudges, sudden thoughts, and perfectly timed words through others. But I will not always send the same call in the same way. There is a season when the tone shifts, when the invitation becomes a final warning, and that season is drawing near. I tell you this so that you understand. Grace is not permission to ignore me without end. Grace is the space I give for you to align your heart and will with mine, and that space has boundaries. The work I am doing in this hour is advancing quickly. Those who hesitate will find themselves watching from the sidelines as I pour out my spirit through the ones who chose to move without delay. I want you among those who move, not left wondering what might have been. So I speak now with a weight you cannot set aside, telling you plainly that the door for this specific opportunity will not remain open before you forever. If it closes, the next door may lead to a different assignment, but it will not carry the identical anointing, the same reach, or the same fruitfulness bound to this one. Every calling is unique to its season, and this season holds an authority that cannot be replicated later. I desire for you to walk in it, to witness the power that flows when you stand exactly where I have placed you. But that will not happen if you remain on the threshold, asking whether you are ready. Readiness is not a feeling you wait for. It is a decision to trust me over your fears, your doubts, and your uncertainties. The moment you choose to trust, I will meet you with the strength you think you lack, the resources you believe are missing, and the courage you have been requesting. But I will not drag you through a doorway that requires your consent to enter. Now, while the way is open and light still spills from within. If that light fades, it will not be because I hid it from you, but because you turned from it one too many times, and the work will have moved on without you. My patience with you is vast, yet my timing is precise. The moment I have prepared is not infinitely elastic. It lives within the cadence of what I have ordained for this season. And you are standing at the edge of that appointed hour. There is a precision to my plan that you may not fully see. I am not working only in your life. I am aligning countless details in the lives of others so that when you step forward, the impact multiplies in ways you cannot measure. But know this, that alignment is not static. It is a living movement that shifts with my will. If you delay past the point I have set, the pieces will rearrange without you, because my work will go on. I want you woven into what I am orchestrating, Yet I will not suspend the entire arrangement while you debate whether to move. I see you calculating the possible cost of obedience, but you have not yet weighed the greater cost of delay. The opportunities that will fade, the relationships that will never form, the blessings that will be diverted, and the moments that cannot be recreated once the window closes. Every instruction I give is married to a unique window of favor. Within that window, resistance breaks more easily, doors open more freely, and provision flows more swiftly. Step outside that timing, and the road grows heavier, not because I abandon you, but because you would be pushing against an atmosphere I designed for you to glide through with ease. This is why I have been placing urgency upon your spirit. The atmosphere is right now. The barriers are weaker now. The resources are reachable now. And the hearts prepared to receive what you carry are open now. If you push this moment into another season, the soil will change. Planting will be harder and slower, and the yield will be smaller than it would be in the fullness of this time. Do not be deceived into assuming my timing will bend forever to your comfort. My grace will sustain you in many places, but the concentrated anointing resting on this present assignment will not wait. I set before you a choice and also give you truth. If you align with me now, you will move in a momentum that carries you into victories without the exhausting battles that come from being out of season. If you delay, you will still walk with me, but you will traverse terrain that demands more effort, more recovery, and more endurance than was necessary. Though I will remain with you, you will sense that you missed the smoother path I had prepared. This is not fear, this is clarity. I am revealing the outcomes of both roads so you can choose wisely. I do not speak to restrict you, I speak to release you. From the weight of wondering, from the loop of indecision, from the heaviness of delay. I want you to stand where you know you are exactly meant to be, moving in rhythm with heaven and free from the ache of having waited too long. This is that place. This is the time. I am calling you to step into it before the current carrying this moment forward passes beyond your reach. I have shown you the path. Yet I see you scanning the horizon for an alternate route, one that seems to demand less, to feel less costly. Every search for another road lengthens the distance on the one I already made straight for you. You tell yourself you are exploring options, but in truth, the hunt for an alternative is a form of resistance. It is an attempt to escape the surrender my chosen way requires. I do not offer multiple versions of one calling. For each assignment, I appoint a specific route, and upon that route, my full provision, protection, and power are set. The more you try to customize my instructions to fit your preferences, the farther you drift from the precise alignment I prepared. Outside alignment, you begin to shoulder burdens never meant for you, for I will not reshape the weight of my plan to suit a path I did not send you on. The way I revealed is not the easiest, but it is the most fruitful. It is the road where the ground has been prepared, where unseen helpers are in position, where obstacles have been weakened ahead of your arrival. If you choose another road, you will face battles I already cleared from the one I gave you. This is why I speak so plainly now. The detours you are considering will not shorten your journey. They will carry you farther away. By the time you notice it, energy, time, and opportunities will have been lost beyond recovery. I know you crave safety, but true safety is found in obedience, not in comfort. You seek reassurance before you move, but the reassurance you need is present in the peace that rises when you think about saying yes, even as your flesh resists. That peace is my confirmation. Do not mistake the absence of challenge for the presence of my will. My will often leads you into places where challenge exists but cannot defeat you, for I go ahead. The enemy will try to persuade you that the straight road is too narrow, too exposed, too risky, hoping you will wander into wider paths where his influence spreads easily. But hear me, the road I have called you to may feel narrow, yet it is secure. It may require trust, yet it leads directly to the fulfillment you have longed for. Stop hunting for an alternative when I have already placed the best route before you. Every moment spent rewriting my plan is a moment you are not walking in it. The questions circle in your mind: what if I fail? What if I am unprepared? What if I am wrong? Are distractions. They draw you away from the one question that matters. Will you trust me enough to take the path I have marked out? You cannot answer with words alone. You must answer with motion. My way will not shift to accommodate hesitation. It is fixed, firm, and waiting. Commit to it without looking back over your shoulder for another option. Once your feet are fully on it, you will feel the strength of my presence guiding you, the clarity of my voice directing you, and the assurance that you are exactly where you should be. But you will never know this until you stop seeking another way and embrace the one I have given you now. You keep waiting for obedience to feel comfortable, but comfort is not the soil where calling grows. Obedience is. What I am asking will stretch you beyond what you think you can bear, not to break you, but to reveal the strength I've already placed in you. You will not discover that strength while standing in shallow water where your feet still touch the ground. The depth I am leading you into requires letting go of the edges you have clung to. As long as you keep one hand on what seems secure, you cannot be fully carried by the current of my will. Yes, the current will move you faster than expected and carry you through places you cannot control. Yet, it will also bring you to shores you could never reach on your own. The tension you feel comes from standing between two worlds, your understanding and my direction, and the pull of both is wearing you out. You were never meant to live in that in-between for long. It drains your energy and clouds your focus. I am calling you out now because indecision is not neutral. It is a slow agreement with delay, and delay always costs more than you imagine. You may think waiting will make the step easier, but the longer you postpone, the more weight you will carry into the step you eventually take. That weight will slow you in ways you could avoid if you obey now. I am not asking you to leap into darkness. I am asking you to trust the one who sees the end from the beginning, who knows the storms ahead and has prepared the shelter, who sees the valleys and has set your victory beyond them. I am not asking for every detail from you, only that you walk with the light you have. You say you are not ready, but readiness is not about possessing every answer. Readiness is deciding that my word is sufficient. The peace you crave will not meet you while you stand still. It will meet you as you move forward. When you shift from hesitation to action, the weight you have carried will lift. Confusion will yield to clarity, and you will understand why I have urged you so persistently. This step is not merely about entering a new place. It is about closing the chapter of wandering, ending the cycle of hearing and then pausing rather than moving. When you break that cycle, momentum you have not known will come, a steadiness of my presence that sustains you through every challenge. The fears that held you will lose their grip because you will see they were powerless against my plan. But you will only know that power when you stop resisting and allow yourself to be carried into the depth I prepared. I am here, steadying you, ready to catch you if you falter. But the step must be yours. The door remains open. The waters are moving. My hand is extended, but not forever. The moment you step, you will see how quickly I move on your behalf. Obstacles that have stood before you are not immovable. They have been waiting for the authority that accompanies your obedience. You have asked me to clear the way first, but I tell you, the way opens as you move, not before. This is how I teach my people to walk by trust, not by the security of sight. When every detail is visible, faith is no longer required, and without faith, you cannot experience the fullness of my power. I have prepared breakthroughs that will not manifest until your feet are in motion, because they are not only for you, they are a testimony to those watching, a living witness that I am faithful to those who act on my word. Some who doubted you will see me intervene as you obey, and through it they will know my hand is upon you. Understand also, your movement is not simply about entering a new stage of life. It activates a spiritual authority that cannot rest upon you while you stand still. When you move, you shift realities in the unseen. Chains that bind others will begin to break, because your obedience opens doors for them too. Your step of faith sends ripples far beyond your immediate world, touching places you may never visit and people you will never meet. This is why the enemy has fought so hard to keep you in place, because he knows that when you move, his influence over certain territories diminishes. He would rather distract you with endless preparation than watch you take the one step that changes everything. Do not underestimate the gravity of your obedience right now. You have measured it by what it might cost you. You have not yet seen what it will release into the world around you. Prayers others have carried for years are tied to your movement. Situations are waiting for the presence you carry to enter the room. Doors have stayed shut, not because they are locked, but because they require your arrival to swing open. I am telling you plainly, when you take the step I am calling you to, I will move in ways that confirm beyond doubt that I was the one leading you. But this will not happen if you linger on the sidelines, waiting for a sign so large it removes all need for trust. That is not how I mature those I love. I am calling you to a place where trust in my voice outweighs your craving for control, where dependence on my word is stronger than dependence on visible guarantees. In that place, fear will lose its power, because you will know from experience that I never call you where I have not gone ahead. So stop gazing at the size of what is ahead as though it should intimidate you. Look instead at the magnitude of the one who sends you. I will not send you into a battle you are unequipped to win, nor lead you into a place I have not already secured for your victory. Your sole task now is to take the step that signals your agreement with my plan. When you do, you will feel the ground shift in ways you did not think possible. If you remain still when I say move, the ground beneath you will harden. What once served as rest will become limitation. Seasons are meant to change. They are not meant to be clutched indefinitely. The blessing of a past season can become a burden when you outstay the grace that covered it. You may think you are preserving stability by holding your position, but in truth, you are drifting out of alignment with the direction of my movement. I am pouring opportunities and favor in the direction of your next step. If you are not there to receive them, they will pass on to where willing hearts have positioned themselves. Hear this. Staying behind will not freeze time until you are ready. My plan will continue forward, whether you participate in this portion or not. I will still walk with you, but what you carry will not be what I prepared for this moment. It will be a different journey, one that teaches you through harder paths what you could have learned through obedience. That is not my desire for you. I have prepared a smoother road ahead. One where my provision meets you with precise timing, where the right people appear at the right moments, where the environment is ready to receive you. That preparation is tied to this season, and the season is already in motion. Every delay widens the gap between you and the arrival I had scheduled. That is why I press you now with such insistence. I see the window narrowing, and I know what will be missed if you wait until it is gone. The place I am calling you to is not only for your advancement, It is for the release of what I have placed inside you. There are words in your mouth, gifts in your hands, and wisdom in your spirit, meant to be poured out where I am leading. If you remain where you are, they will remain unused, locked away from those they were meant to touch. I will not force you, but I will keep speaking until you know your obedience is not merely crossing into something new. It is delivering what I entrusted to you before it expires. Yes, certain assignments have an expiration, not because my love ends, but because the alignment of people, timing, and opportunity is not permanent. I have arranged them for you now, that they will not wait idly. If you stay planted where you are, the very things you prayed for will spring to life elsewhere through another vessel. You will watch from a distance, knowing it could have been your hands shaping that miracle. I do not want you to live with that ache. I want you to taste the joy of seeing my power flow through your obedience. The satisfaction of standing precisely where I needed you, precisely when I needed you. Therefore, move now, before what was prepared for you passes to someone else. My spirit presses you because I see what is forming before you can. I will not allow you to say later that I was silent when danger approached. You stand in a moment where the unseen is shifting rapidly. Forces you cannot perceive are aligning, and not all of them seek your good. Circumstances are forming that will require you to be positioned where I have called you, not where you stand. If you ignore my direction, you will walk into storms you could have bypassed by obeying now. These are not ordinary disruptions. They are designed to siphon your strength through conflict and cloud your focus with urgent but meaningless battles. I warn you in advance so you can step beyond their reach before they arrive. This is not running from difficulty. This is standing where my protection rests on you fully, where blows meant for you cannot land. In that place, I have scattered traps, silenced voices meant to discourage you, and prepared clear space for your feet. If you remain where you are, you will be pulled into a struggle that consumes energy meant for building, defending instead of advancing, surviving rather than thriving. I know you think you can handle whatever comes, but I am not asking you to handle what I never intended you to face. Some battles are won by holding ground. Others are avoided entirely by moving to the position I show you. This is such a moment. You are at a crossroads. One path leads to needless conflict. The other carries you directly into the field where my favor is already at work. I speak urgently because this decision will set the tone for the next season of your life. If you move now, you will enter a rhythm where my provision, protection, and guidance meet you at every turn. If you delay, you will still find me, but the road will be heavier, slower, and crowded with detours never meant for you. I desire to spare you that weight. My warnings are not restrictions. They preserve your strength for the work that truly matters. There are people waiting for you in the place I am sending you, people whose hearts I have prepared. Yet they are tied to that location, that timing, that alignment. They are not waiting here. If you stay, you will miss the connection, and the link I intended to forge through you will stay open until I raise another to complete it. Do not allow your part to be given to another because of hesitation. Step beyond the storm's reach before it breaks, and take your place where my hand has already cleared the way. The time is not tomorrow, it is now. You think you have more time, but things are shifting faster than your eyes can register. By the time you feel it outwardly, much will already be set in motion in the unseen. My timing is not governed by the world's pace. It follows what I purposed from the beginning. That timing unfolds now whether you act or not. I speak insistently because this window is not indefinite. It opens and closes in rhythm with what I orchestrate across many lives at once. If you step in now, you will move in harmony with my plan. catching momentum prepared for you. If you wait, you will find yourself chasing what has moved ahead, and the effort to catch up will drain the strength that could have fueled fruitful work. The acceleration in your spirit is not your imagination. It is my spirit alerting you that the moment is active now, that the season of planning has passed, and the season of stepping has arrived. Opportunities perfectly aligned with your calling are coming into place, yet they will not wait indefinitely for your decision. They are part of a living sequence. Once the sequence moves, those openings will lock into the lives of those ready. I share this so you grasp the weight of the choice before you. This is not reckless rushing. It is recognizing that preparation is complete, alignment is set, and the only missing element is your action. When you step in now, doors will open with minimal resistance, connections will form without striving, and resources will flow without force. Because you will be in the very place I am blessing. If you wait, those doors may shut, those connections invest elsewhere, and those resources be allocated to another work. I do not want you entering the next season with the heaviness of knowing you hesitated and lost the fullness I prepared. I want you to carry the certainty that you were in step with me, that you moved when I spoke, that you trusted, though you could not see the entire picture. This is how I train my people for authority, by teaching them to respond quickly to my voice. Authority is not learned in theory. It is built through obedience. The more your steps align with mine, the greater authority you will carry where I send you, and the greater your impact on those whose breakthroughs are connected to your yes. You might think the decision before you is small, but in my eyes it is a hinge, one that will set direction for years. Step into it now while the way is clear and the wind of my favor is at your back. If you hesitate, the path may still exist, but the conditions will be different, and the journey will feel longer and heavier than it needed to be. I call you into motion before the season moves beyond your reach, because I desire that you walk in the fullness I set aside, not in the fragments left when timing is missed. I offer you strength, wisdom, and favor in this hour. These are not scattered gifts to collect at leisure. They are bundled into the assignment I am asking you to enter now. They are not meant to sit dormant. They are meant to be activated and multiplied through your obedience. If you stand still, they remain potential rather than power, resources held in reserve rather than tools shaping your future. Many ask for more strength, yet strength grows as you move. Many seek wisdom, yet wisdom deepens as you walk out what I show you. Many desire favor, yet favor flourishes when tethered to the path I ordain. I am not withholding anything. I have already placed in your hands what is necessary for what lies ahead. The issue is not lack of supply. It is the need for the step that allows what I have given to function at full capacity. Right now, the strength I gave you is like a seed, complete with life, yet it will not become a tree unless planted in the soil of action. The wisdom I poured into you remains knowledge until used in real situations. The favor surrounding you will not open the greatest doors until you stand before the places I prepared. This is why I urge movement now, because the gifts entrusted to you are time-sensitive in their fullest expression. They were crafted for this season, this alignment, these opportunities. If you delay, they will not vanish, but their impact will be reduced, for they were designed to operate in the environment I shaped for this moment. See that obedience is not just about reaching a next place. It is about unlocking maximum potential of what I placed within you. You feel unequipped because you have not yet stood in the spaces where what I gave you comes alive. There, in the appointed place, you will see the full measure of my provision. I do not ask you to bring everything you think you need. Bring what you have now. It is enough to begin, and what you lack will meet you along the way. My strength is not for storing, it is for spending in alignment with my will. My wisdom is not for quiet corners, it is for speaking and acting where I send you. My favor is not a shield to hide behind, it is a path to walk boldly through the doors I open. Do not leave my gifts idle, waiting for a better time. The best time is when I say go, and I say it now, given into the places I send you. As you step, you will find that opposition does not diminish my light in you. It makes it shine brighter. And as you carry it, you will be transformed. Your faith deepened, your trust strengthened. None of this unfolds while the light remains hidden in safe places. Safe is not always where I work most. My greatest works often happen where risk seems highest, because there my presence is most clearly seen. This is your moment to bring what is in you to those who need it most. Do not keep it contained. Release it, and watch me move. You cannot carry this light fully while gripping what I already told you to release. The things you refuse to let go will weigh you down and dim your glow. Some are habits, patterns, even relationships that once seemed harmless, but in this season have become anchors. They feel comfortable because they are familiar, but comfort that keeps you from my will is a silent enemy to your destiny. I am not asking you to abandon what is essential. I am asking you to lay down what no longer aligns with where I am taking you. When I call you to let go, it is not to leave you empty. It is to make room for what I am placing in your hands. You cannot receive the new while clinging to the old with both hands. Even now, my spirit has been highlighting the specific things that no longer serve my purpose in you. You have felt unrest when you think of them. You sense they take more than they give. That unrest is my warning. You have tried to ignore it, telling yourself you can carry these things and still walk into what I am calling you to. But listen, that weight will slow and weaken you, and eventually cause you to miss my timing. There are places I am sending you where you must be light on your feet, ready to respond quickly, unentangled by unnecessary attachments. If you insist on keeping what I asked you to release, you will hesitate at crucial moments, not for lack of courage, but because your hands and heart are too full. I want you traveling unburdened so you can pour yourself fully into the work ahead. This requires trust that I will not leave you lacking, that what I give in exchange surpasses what you release. It also requires decision, a clear choice to stop carrying what I have marked for removal. The enemy will insist that letting go makes you vulnerable, that your stability depends on these things. But I am your stability, not what you hold. The sooner you release, the sooner I can fill your hands with what will truly sustain and strengthen you. You cannot imagine the freedom of carrying only what I place upon you. It will not drag you down like a burden. It will rest on you like a mantle that empowers. But that exchange requires surrender. This is the time to lay down what has outlived its purpose, so you can grasp what will carry you forward with clarity and strength. Do not delay. Each day you bear what I asked you to release is another day of unnecessary weight. An unnecessary weight has no place in the journey ahead. What you refuse to lay down will not remain harmless. It will grow heavier, tightening its grip until it begins to direct your steps. Things you think you control will start to control you. Choices you think are your own will bend under that weight. The clarity I have given will blur. Therefore, act now. The longer you hold on, the more these things weave into your identity, making it harder to imagine life without them. Some are already draining the energy that should fuel what I'm building in you, pulling focus, demanding attention, and distracting your heart. The danger is not only their weight, but their subtle power to redirect your course unnoticed. I call you to a freedom that cannot coexist with certain entanglements. Freedom requires decisive separation. This is not loss. It is the removal of hindrance so you can run. I speak urgently because I see the road ahead and know what happens if you carry these things into the next stage. They will slow your progress, distort your priorities, and keep you from stepping fully into the role I have prepared. You cannot give yourself wholly to what I ask, while part of you remains bound to what I asked you to leave. The parting may feel costly now, but holding on will cost far more in seasons to come. When I ask for release, it is because I have weighed its value against the greater work I am doing in you. Believe me, nothing I ask you to lay down is worth more than where I am leading. Every step with me requires room in your heart, mind, and hands for what is new. If you stay filled with the old, you will not be ready to receive when the new arrives. The shift before you is too important to carry excess. It demands your full capacity, undivided focus, and readiness to move at my pace. Decide now that nothing will hold you back, that nothing will share the throne of your heart with my call, and that nothing will replace my direction in your life. Make this choice, and you will enter the next stage lighter, stronger, and more prepared than ever. You will discover that what you thought supported you was slowing you, and releasing it brings a clarity you did not know you were missing. Delay, and these things will root deeper. Separation will require more time, more pain, more recovery. I want to spare you that. I want you free, before weight becomes chains, before distraction becomes direction, before delay becomes loss. The choice is before you. Release what I have marked for release, and step into the space I have cleared for what is next. I will not coerce you to choose life when life is already set before you. I have laid out the path of blessing, the way of peace, the road of fulfillment. Yet I will not drag you upon it against your will. I have given you the dignity of choice, for love without choice is not love. But remember, choice does not cancel consequence, and the direction you set your feet will determine the fruit you harvest. I have spoken, warned, guided, and confirmed my word in countless ways. Now the moment has come to decide with finality. Delay cannot stretch further without cost. What stands before you is no ordinary option. It is a divine invitation, an open door given in my mercy, knowing what is ahead and wanting you prepared, protected, and positioned for what I am about to release on the earth. If you walk away now, you will enter a terrain where my grace still attends you. But the shield and provision designed for this stage will not be present, for they are tied to the place of obedience. I do not say this to threaten, but to make you aware of reality. The enemy waits at the edges, hoping indecision will draw you into his reach. Knowing hesitation weakens resolve. This is why I press you to break the power of indecision now. You have stood between two voices, mine, calling you into the new, and fear, urging you to remain. But the safety you think you have will not last. The ground beneath it is shifting, and soon will not hold. The place I call you to may look risky from here, but from my view, it is the only secure ground. Step now, and you will find every resource you need, strength you have not known, and doors that open at your approach. Refuse, and you will carry the knowledge that you chose what was fading over what is eternal. I appeal to you once more in this matter, not because my patience is gone, but because the time for this particular call is closing. Cross the threshold while the light still spills across the path, while the way is clear, while resistance is weakened by my hand. Walk forward knowing you responded without delay, that you honored the stirring of my spirit, that you trusted me above your fears. This is your moment to show that I am worthy of your whole yes. You prayed for my will. I now place it in front of you. No further prompting of the same weight will come in the same way. I have poured out direction. I have aligned timing. I have opened the way. The next move belongs to you, my beloved child. What you have received today is not the end, but only a beginning. Each time you return here, I will meet you with new strength for your struggles, new peace for your heart, and new wisdom for your path. Do not let this word be the last you hear. Come back again, stay close, and expect me to speak, because the next message may carry the very answer you have been waiting for. Subscribe, return often, and walk with me. I will be here, waiting for you. Amen.